Eddie Bo's friend. Well, I don't know, actually. Here's how it was to me. Um, I thought I had a lot of friends. I thought people loved me. I thought they actually cared about me and my well being. And then I hurt my back. And there was nobody there. Everybody was just words, telling me what to think and what to feel, and I really messed up my back. They didn't want to hear that. They wanted to tell me how to think and feel. And then there was Maddie Boa and Natalie Bollinger, and well, the day that Natalie Bollinger came and rescued me, she was waiting on Maddie Boa. Natalie couldn't come and see me every day, but Maddie Boa did. Now, I knew who Maddie Boa was before that. Um, One day she got beat up by her dad for being a lesbian. She was about, I want to say she was about 15 or 16. But I didn't really know. Matter of fact, until that day when she come up to me and was crying and showing her red marks and no bruising yet, it had just happened, and that's when you're supposed to turn it in, is right away. Well, Maddie didn't want to turn it in. I recommended she go to the source, because at the source they would turn it in. She wouldn't do that. Anyway, I went and talked to Officer Ramos and Officer Paddock in Boulder. Um, they said she's got as much right to be there as I do, and that a lot of kids out there had problems like that, which I already knew. I also already knew that beyond a pep talk, cops weren't likely to do shit. I was lucky that I was talking to Ramos about it, because most of the cops would have just gone out of their way to be douchebags and look for a fight. Anyway, so I was nicer to her, but I didn't hang out with her. She was friends with Derek Parrish and hung out with Derek and his mom Janine, and that's where I knew her from. She was one of them youngins to come up and hang out with Derek while I was hanging out with Janine, and of course I either got up and left or tried to run him off. Mostly I got up and left. Janine didn't want me running off her son's friends, which I understood. So let's fast forward a bit. Maddie Boa was an adult, and Alicia and Maddie and Natalie were all friends. Well, Natalie and Alicia were twins, obviously. And Maddie, she came to the Starbucks looking for Natalie, who was like 2 hours late. She had an appointment to go see Maddie Boa. Was supposed to meet her on the courthouse lawn on the Pearl Street Mall. And since Natalie didn't show up because she was busy talking to me, Maddie Boa showed up at the Starbucks, saw us in the window, and came in and talked to us. And she was a little bugged that Natalie had completely forgotten about her. But Maddie Boa, after that, she didn't have a vehicle, and she was trying to do the whole recovery thing. And she was dating Mackenzie Checkman, and Like I said, she's a lesbian. She wanted to date Natalie and Alicia both. But here's the thing about Maddie Boa. She showed up. She showed up almost every day. She asked me if I was okay, asked me how I was doing, asked me if there was anything that she could help me with. She didn't have a vehicle, so I was basically stuck with my backpack and everything that was heavy in it. I asked her if she could take some of the stuff that was kind of heavy, some of the stuff that might have been worth some money. That way it was not going to get stolen like everything else kept on happening. You know, no matter where I went, I couldn't go very far. My back was screwed up. That's when Natalie Bollinger, she gave me a ride out to storage. I ended up losing storage. That's actually how I ended up hurting my back, was moving all my tools. Had a machine shop outside of Boulder. Wanted to make 1/5 scale World War I airplane engines. Didn't happen though. So between when I hurt my back and when I lost my storage, there was 2 people who came to see me often. There was 2 people who kept in contact with me and genuinely made me feel loved. They genuinely made me feel like I mattered, like I was important. And I had never had that in my life. When somebody beat me up, I was told it was my fault. When kids at school bullied me, I was told it was because I didn't try hard enough to be normal. I didn't try hard enough to fit in. When you're the white kid in a black school, it's not easy to fit in. And then getting dropped off in Chapel, Nebraska, being a lot different. Growing up in the system, not growing up with most of them kids since kindergarten, it wasn't easy to fit in. Matter of fact, I just straight up didn't. It didn't matter how nice I was to people, they were still gonna fuck with me. They were still gonna bully me, they were still gonna shove me into the lockers or things like that. Still call me N-word lover. Ugh. Maddie Boa never did that. I never heard any racism out of her, ever. I heard a lot of hatred out of her towards primarily her dad and anybody that would hurt her friends. And she and I never had a problem. Not until I left Virginia. Literally, the day I was leaving Virginia. Never had a problem with her. I got a hold of her to let her know what was happening. Let her know that Natalie's mom found her heroin and things didn't go well. And, you know, I really did, this is probably my fault, I really did expect Maddie Boa to understand. Like, I don't mess with drugs. Maddie knew it. Natalie knew it. Alicia knew it. But that's not what it was about to them. For them, it was about feeling embarrassed. But Maddie Boa, she really did make me feel like a friend until the day I left Virginia. On that day, even with her planning on coming to see us all in November, and it was only October, she was going to come see us. She was real excited about it. We were planning the trip. And things didn't go well, obviously. And that's when Maddie Boa started running around Boulder, Colorado, spreading rumors to her customers. She was a meth dealer. The reason that she hadn't come with me to Virginia was because she got busted selling meth. She was on probation, and her probation officer didn't think it would be a good idea for her to go to Virginia or North Carolina. There was a big old long bridge that I took a picture from and sent it to Maddie, actually. Like I said, we used to be friends. All it took was one lie. It was a matter of popularity, matter of gender, matter of skin color, matter of age, matter of disabilities and understanding of those disabilities. So here's the thing about being homeless. It doesn't matter how sober I am. The people that accept me are usually people out on the streets. They're the only ones who make any sort of a connection. But it's tough for me to make a connection with them because I don't have those addictions. I don't have those addictions to sex. I don't have those addictions to alcohol. I don't have those addictions to drugs. The thing is that people don't know the difference between Tourette syndrome and drug use. People don't know the difference between autism and mental retardation. Oh, sorry. Maddie Boa knew that I was autistic, and so did Natalie. Both of them claim to understand. Lots of people claim to understand, but what they understand is that they believe wives' tales from the 80s that were disproven in the late 80s and early 90s. People still believe that shit 30 years later, 40 years later. A lot of the wives' tales that you guys thought about autism back in the 60s and 70s, man, you guys still think that shit. Holy fuck. Do you know what they used to give people with autism back in the 60s and 70s? Do you know what they'd give you if you were autistic? Meth. Pharmaceutical meth. That's what they gave you for autism. That was real big in the 50s for literally everything. A lot of y'all youngins, you think that the generational curse with your addiction issues started with your parents. It really didn't. It started in World War II. What's that got to do with being friends with Maddie Boa? Well, in our society, there's people like me who fought real hard to introduce anti-Nazi legislature by telling my story and by telling the stories of others. We're not heard by the police. We're not heard by these agencies, not unless we have a friend or family who cares. But that friend or family has to understand. And here's the thing. When I needed help with stuff on a computer or on my phone, I actually needed someone to show me in person how to do it. And she was there often. She could show me how to do it. I was paying Josh Hughes to teach me that and to teach me to speak Spanish. I knew that my back was fucked, but there might be something that I could do. If I could learn another language, there was definitely possibilities there. If I could learn some computer skills, then there was some possibilities there. I'm not calling Maddie Boa a bad person for not teaching me how to do that stuff, because that's definitely not the case. She's definitely somebody that I can't help but care about. I got a soft spot for broken things, I guess. Somebody stole that from a movie to describe me, and I guess it fits. But I don't love Maddie Boa because she's into women. I don't love her because of when she came into my life. I don't love her for any reason other than she showed me the human in her. When I say show me the Jesus, all these Christians want to tell me about the Jesus, the Jesus, the Jesus. All right. I don't mean show me the Jesus literally. I mean, I can walk down the street and find Jesuses. Look what I found today. I found some prayer beads, right? And I also found a rosary, and it's got a depiction of Jesus on it. You know, I just found this on the road. Don't know who it belonged to, don't know nothing. I just know it was sitting there in the gutter. Veni Creators Spiritus. Oh, it's got a dove on the back. Very nice. And on the other side, it's got somebody on their knees. Alright, I don't think that's appropriate. Who knows? Maybe it is. I'm not Catholic. I don't know who this is. Let me try to show it to you. Screw it. It's not gonna work. Anyway, when I say show me your Jesus, I mean the same thing as Maddie showing me the human in her. Or as the hippies say, namaste. The human in me recognizes the human in you. When it came to understanding, though, although I understood Maddie Boa pretty well, she didn't quite understand me, or my purpose, what I was doing, or why. Or maybe she did, she just forgot, like everyone else. With Natalie Bollinger, when I needed help, like actually needed help, I needed help taking my stuff to storage so that I wasn't stuck carrying around all that stuff on my back while I was getting messed with by the police. I couldn't walk very far with all that stuff, but I needed to try to keep it. It was important. It was to try to improve my life and make it better. And I always thought I was going to get better too. I mean, I didn't expect my back to just be this fucking hell. And for me, trying to explain to my friends what that's like, I'd seen people go crazy over back problems before. You know, people with families and houses and children. And, you know, those people helped them to get through their back injuries. And even those people, I got to see them go crazy with their back problems, having to depend on others, how much it hurt their pride, and how many people were so cruel to them because their families were taking care of them, especially if they were men. And then when it happened to me, when I screwed up my back and all my friends were just words, and they were, of course, Veronica Randall being angry at me because she had given me a bike that people had stolen parts off of, but also because of my back injuries, I still can't get on a bicycle. She wanted to be angry with me because I lost my job. It's not that I lost my job, it's that I literally couldn't go to work. She wanted to tell me, yeah, I could, and that they bought me that bike. And really, it was a bike that Brandon had left over. You know, it was used. It wasn't like it was something that they went to the store and bought a $6,000 track. It was just an old bike. And I was glad to have it. I wasn't complaining about having it, but after I hurt my back, it didn't do me any good anymore. I couldn't get on it. That's when Natalie and Maddie came into my life. When my back was so fucked up, when Veronica Randall was being extremely mean to me, she wanted to do something nice for me and do my taxes. It would have been nice if she could have given me a ride to storage with my stuff. But she was insistent that I should be able to just walk into the Cheesecake Factory and tell them I wanted my W-2s and they had to give them to me. Like, immediately, right away. Well, I asked them. That's because Veronica was being really mean. Like, I had to do it right now, this very moment. And, I was trying to. I talked to them, and they told me when Jesse gets there, and Veronica was just all sorts of angry with me because I didn't have all of that information on me. She was like, this is your taxes, you're supposed to have all this, and you're supposed to have all that. I'm like, hey, look, lady, I'm homeless. All right, I don't have a steady address. I can use the address of the carriage house, but that's about as close as I get. I got friends in town, but their addresses aren't steady. Most of them are couch surfers, so I can't use their address. And she was angry with me. She's like, well, if that's all you needed, you could have asked for my address. And, here's the thing. That would have been nice. But at the time, I had one of them flip phones that it was costing me 50 cents every time she would text me. I only had enough money for a $25 card. She knew that if I was texting her that I could call her. It didn't cost me as much to call for a minute, and I could explain a lot more in a minute. But after her being mean over that bike, and her being mean over the taxes, and me trying to type to her to just stop, please stop, when she finally did call, it was about 30 seconds of her fucking screaming at the top of her lungs at me over, I don't even know what. I mean, I had to pull the phone away from my head. I was like, what the fuck did I do to her? Why is she fucking freaking out on me? All I'm doing is telling her I can't get on the fucking bike to even ride to work. And telling her that I can't force everything to happen right this fucking moment, right when she wants it. Why is she freaking out like this? Why is she freaking out on me? I'm the one who's injured. I need a ride out to storage with my stuff, and I am getting fucking pounded by this lady and typing. And each time I look at one of them things she types, it costs me 50 cents. And she literally typed me 10 of them in a row, each one like 5 words or less. I'm going, holy shit. That just cost me $5. Please stop. And I typed to her, please stop, please stop. So when she finally called and she was just fucking screaming at me, man, that was so fucking devastating. And that right there, that was when I decided I was just going to end my life. People were wondering what it was I was going to do with them meds. They're like, dude, you don't mess with that shit. Man, you don't want to get started on that shit. Dude, you don't want to touch that shit. But here's the thing, I did. I needed help. I didn't need people to scream at me for not being able to do what they wanted. All these years later, I still can't get on a bicycle, whether it's got a seat or not. Getting yelled at because I didn't ride a bike that I wasn't capable of riding. That was fucking horrible. Getting yelled at and screamed at because I couldn't force Jessie to give me my W-2s right at the very moment and very day that she wanted them. And then people treat me like I'm making excuses or like I'm a piece of shit for not having all that stuff. I knew all of them through Janine, every one of them. I knew Veronica Randall through Janine and her son Derek Parrish. I knew Madi Boa through Janine and her son Derek Parrish. I knew Natalie and I knew of Natalie and Alicia through Madi Boa. The day I went in to take them Vicodin, I was tired of people telling me, hey, you just need to get a job, you'll feel better. Hey, you just need to go to work, you'll feel better. Hey, man, you should buy a fucking car. If you got a car, you got more freedom. With what money? And then I got Brenda Dickinson telling me that she loved me like a son. But who actually made me feel loved? That was Madi Boa and Natalie Bollinger, and later on, Alicia Bollinger too. Madi Boa talked to me almost every day, in person, came to see me in person, asked me how I was doing in person, told me about her relationship problems, and made sure I had somebody to talk to. That was the part that was destroying me the most, was not having nobody to talk to. After Virginia, I had to try to find somebody else I could actually connect with, somebody who actually treated me like I was important, someone who cared what I said, somebody who cared how I felt, somebody who didn't dismiss me outright. No matter what I said, there's some excuse why they don't care, can't listen, don't have time. They can say they care and say they love you, but they can't show it, can they? When people are beating you up and you go to your friends for help like you're supposed to, and they can't even hear that you're being assaulted because they're busy telling you they're too busy. Too busy to help you. Too busy to listen, let alone help you. They're so busy being too busy telling you about how they're too busy that they're too busy to hear a word that you have to say. Therefore, you don't matter. You're not important. Natalie Bollinger, she understood that I had difficulties getting a job, and she understood what those difficulties were. She knew my back was fucked up. She knew that I couldn't just go carrying my backpack everywhere. That's why she was trying to get me to get that job working with the bees. Canvassing, I'd done it before. I helped to get Amendment 64 passed. We'd go door to door, and the guy with the pad on the piece of paper and all that to get all the signatures, he'd stand at the end of the street, and if we got somebody wanted a signature, which it was easy, it was Colorado, and people would sign the piece of paper, and all I had to do was talk to people about marijuana and then flag that guy over if they were interested in signing it. It was an all right job, and it was volunteer actually, but that it wasn't entirely volunteer. course, if we wanted to, they surprised us every day with something to eat. Sometimes it was Subway, sometimes it was McDonald's, but they'd surprise us with food because we were volunteers, and that was very nice. So when Natalie was telling me that they actually have a paying gig where you get paid a percentage based on how many people you get to donate a certain amount per month to saving the bees. It didn't end up happening. She did understand when I left Colorado that I was in a lot of pain and I was not sleeping in a place that was healthy. So when I went to Nebraska to try to heal up my back, and Candace Bondurant did the screwed up things that she did, and of course I had that meltdown at Starbucks. It was outside of Starbucks, but still it happened. And with the situation with Devin, I wasn't comfortable there anymore. That's because one pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl, her opinions can result in a lot of people doing harmful stuff to you. And they don't stop to consider how harmful it is. See, a lot of people tell me that they understand and that I need to put myself in somebody else's shoes. I do put myself in their shoes. That's the issue. People think I'm retarded and incapable of seeing things from another point of view. That's not it. That's not autism at all. It's easy for me to see your point of view. That's how your actions and your decisions are so easy to predict. Different people have different levels of trauma, and some of them, when they say they're going to help, they're so busy all up in their own fields that they can't focus on anything else. They are permanently stuck on that until there is a solution. That is especially the case when you take away somebody's family or all of their friends all at once. When you take somebody's children, they tend to go pretty crazy. With Madi Boa, one of the things that she was having issues with Mackenzie Chapman had a baby, and she didn't want her baby getting taken because Madi Boa couldn't stay off of the methamphetamines. That's understandable. They needed a scapegoat, and they found one. And all they had to do was ignore all the people threatening to kill me and my friends and family long enough for me to have a fucking panic attack and do something back. All I did back was scream. Holy shit. Unlike these asswipes, though, I didn't hide it. When I made mistakes, I admitted to them. But then there's the mistakes you guys think I make, the things that you want to assign to me that make your sins magically okay. And oddly, everybody uses stuff they weren't there for as an excuse. They just don't have anything in their own situation that they can use to logically verify such a decision or belief. Rather than looking at evidence, would you rather just believe what you're told? Of course you'd rather just believe what you're told. It just depends on who told you. If it's somebody that you're attracted to, you're more likely to believe it. Now, there's a lot of stuff that goes into your delusions. Race is a part of it. Religion is a part of it. Gender is a part of it. Sexual orientation is a part of it. There's a lot that goes into your bias, and your bias is what you make decisions based on. For the most part, people who are autistic, especially high-functioning autistics, think a lot differently. A lot differently than that. For some of us, when we express something that might seem off the wall or delusional, most of the time it's an expression of things we would rather be doing. Leitha Plunkett, her son Gabriel, he said that his dream job is to go out and mine on asteroids. I asked him, you mean like mining asteroids on Star Trek, where you're out there with a crew telling them what to do and burrowing into rocks and you got a mining operation on it? He said no. What he wanted was just a ship of his own, and he goes out there and he cuts pieces off. He said he could do that for the rest of his life. Kind of the point of it is to get the hell away from people. People do not treat us right. They abuse the living crap out of us. People know that all they have to do is make a false accusation and it's good enough. When you're the one who's called mentally ill, you automatically lose. Madi Boa didn't treat me like that until after Virginia. What happened in Virginia? I tried to do everything that Natalie and Alicia wanted me to do, and I couldn't possibly do all of it. I got severely dehydrated, and I had to go to the hospital. I was given a phone for my birthday by Alicia Bollinger that was busted as shit, and it didn't work right. And then on top of that, my car got stuck in the road when I went over to explain it. They claimed that I threatened their family and was arrested. The reality is I didn't threaten anybody, and I was taken to the hospital, and I was given saline water, salt water. More than one bag. Now, I do remember them changing out the bags. But after that, it was either get away from Natalie and her family or stick around for the resources in Virginia. And the nearest resources in Virginia were like an 8-mile walk. My back was fucked and they knew it. What was I going to do? I contacted Brandon Ratner and Alex Furman and Brenda Dickinson, and who else did I get a hold of? There was one other person. I think Laura Nelson. And I was able to get enough to get my car out of the impound and to get back to Boulder. And, up until I was almost to Tennessee, and I called Madi Boa to let her know what was going on. I think I messaged her is what it was. I'm pretty sure it was a text message. I don't know, though. The phone was fucking worthless. It sucked. I hated it. I didn't want that broken-ass phone. I should have stuck with the flip phone. Now, instead of admitting that that's what really happened there, Natalie and Alicia, they never came forward about it. They just let people continue to hurt me. And of course, I didn't have the technical wizardry to do the whole screenshot thing and You know, a lot of y'all take that shit for granted that you know how to do that. You've known how to do that since you were 3. Well, guess what? They didn't have that shit when I was 3. When I was 3 years old, our playground equipment killed people, literally. People died flying off the merry-go-round. People died getting launched off the teeter-totter. People died getting launched off of the swings. Yep, our playground equipment, that's what we were raised by in the 80s. That whole flip phone thing, like that came out, of course, we got to see that on Star Trek, but they didn't exist in real life until, what, the late 90s at the earliest? I mean, even then they were just big fucking bricks. Wasn't until after the 2000s that we started getting them Blackberries and stuff, and I didn't have one of them. I'd found a few broken ones on Pearl Street, but, you know, they were broken. And because I still don't have those technical abilities, and also because of the crimes committed against me, I don't have any money. All of my money is spent moving around because everybody tells me that I need to move, I need to move, I need to move. They're not going to help me unless I do what they say, and they say to move, so I move again. And then I never get to establish myself anywhere. And as I'm trying to establish myself somewhere, I still need somebody's help, but they're too busy telling me what to do. Well, I'm being victimized out here. And every time I'm victimized, my circle gets a little bit smaller. There's a little less area that I can go to. There's a little less resources that I have access to. There's more places I have to fear going. I didn't get a hold of Madi Boa to go trashing Natalie and Alicia's name. I was just seeking to let a friend know what happened and that I was coming home. Instead, she went spreading rumors, and when I got home to Boulder, people just wanted to hurt me. When I went to my friends, just like when I hurt my back, they were all too busy. My back was still fucked, and now I had people assaulting me when I went to go see my older brother, or Mobley, or Christine, or Janine. When I went to see Morgan Burns, or Tommy, either one of the Tommies, actually. Tommy Gallia, that's Onyx. That's what he went by. Eric's the only one out of all of them ain't dead. My older brother Rabbit. When Amy and Spencer wanted to go talking shit and accusing my older brother of things that he'd never do, I stuck up for my brother right away. I got a hold of Morgan Burns and I let him know. He said, oh hell no, I ain't gonna let nobody get away with that. People don't get to go spreading those rumors about your brother. But it don't matter what the truth is. What matters is that when a woman's pissed off, we owe her. We owe her, no matter what it is that she wants, we must be in the wrong. You know, I've heard that out of so many men and women. You know, if you don't give a woman what she wants, you deserve what you get. So if a woman wants a married man and he ain't having it, that's his fault. But how can you give your wife what she wants and give that girl who wants you to leave your wife what she wants? When does it matter what he wants? I got all these married men telling me, Sean, the secret to a happy life is not to argue with your wife. Sean, if you don't want women to make your life hell, just do what they say. If you don't, they'll make your life hell. With Layla Johnson and Kara Johnson Miles, Layla Johnson and Cara Rogers, both of them were at my throat if I was friends with either one or the other one. I didn't know either one of them, and both of them had evidence that I needed help getting. They recorded it. Now, all these years later, I got to go back and consult evidence from way back then to even remember these people's names that were involved. Everywhere I go, I got to try to remember new names, and there's just too many. There's too many people. I meet too many people to remember all their names. I put their names here on YouTube and on Facebook. If I'd have known how to do this technical stuff before Natalie was dead, Natalie wouldn't have ended up dead. I would have posted them screenshots up for Natalie to see, and Madi to see, and Alicia to see, and the police to see, and my friends to see before she was dead, but I didn't have any help. I'd tell people I didn't know how to do something on the computer, and then they'd treat me like crap because I have a YouTube, or sorry, not a YouTube, a Facebook. The only reason I have a Facebook is because I had help making it. The only reason I have an email address is because somebody helped me to friggin' make it. If it weren't for that, I mean, even my MySpace way back in the day. How many of you even remember MySpace? I got one out there somewhere. I don't know what the login is to log into it, but I know I got one out there somewhere. Madi Boa did what a friend's supposed to do, at least in part. When I was abused, she didn't offer to help me turn it in, but when my stuff got stolen and my older brother wouldn't do nothing, she was understanding, and Natalie was understanding. Natalie took me to drop my stuff off at storage, and then I could actually walk. That freed me up to be able to actually take care of myself a little bit, lighten up my load. She also was trying to help me with that Save the Bees thing in Colorado, and then when she went to Virginia, she was insistent that I go, and I did go. She was going to kill herself if I didn't, so I had to go. And when I got there, her and her sister wanted to go to Virginia Beach, so two guys that they know that were drunk, and the two of them took us to Virginia Beach on the 8th of October of 2016. They wanted to go to the pagoda, and that was in Norfolk, and we stopped at the Chinese place on the way. That was right before Hurricane Matthew. I was able to get a job at a labor ready cleaning up Hurricane Matthew. That was terrible. I should not have done that. That hurt me bad. I was stuck in my vehicle, and it was bad. And Alicia had asked me to stay behind where she worked, and she didn't work there anymore at that point. She'd quit her job like 10 minutes after changing my phone number over into her name and into that broken phone that Natalie had, and it was a smartphone, and it was all busted to shit. I mean, that's the whole thing right there, that fucking phone. Plus me being dehydrated on my birthday, and people didn't share that information. They just wanted to argue on Facebook. Well, my opponents, as you want to call them, my predators, wanted to pull out bits and pieces and just show that and say, see, this is Sean being a horrible person. Like, are you even looking at the fucking context of it? And you people fucking eat it up. You've been coming at me for years, forcing me to move all the fucking time. Like, holy Christ, I didn't rape anybody, I didn't molest anybody, I didn't fucking kill anybody. What the hell is wrong with you pieces of shit? You keep fucking stalking me. You keep fucking harming me, and then you pretend like I'm a bad person for reacting. Who wouldn't react to this much fucking bullshit? To being isolated socially, financially, physically. To be physically assaulted, sexually assaulted, financially assaulted over and over and over again. To never be able to establish roots and get started and get these things going that I need to do for myself. But then again, I can't do them for myself. I'm not allowed. And that's the problem with allowing one bad cop to get away with one bad fucking crime, is that it wasn't one bad cop. It was close to a dozen cops altogether involved before Natalie was ever killed. Maybe more. And afterwards, a fucking shit ton more. But I had to go in alone over and over and over again. And each time it made it even tougher, because it was just my word versus theirs, even if I had video and audio recording of it, because no one cared. All these cops had to do is, well, same thing Natalie did. Call me mentally ill, and magically I must be wrong. Magically it must be okay to hurt me because nobody's gonna fucking listen anyway. The fuck is wrong with you people? Madi Boa was my friend, but she did horrible things. And it is not wrong for me to speak up about those things. And you guys pretend that because I spoke up about them, because I tried to get help stopping them, that I'm some sort of a monster. Absolutely not. You guys don't like equal treatment. I get that. You don't like being treated how you treat me. I get that. You've made that loud and clear. You want to call me a hypocrite? Well, you know what? I tried all of the right courses of action first. And I was harmed for doing them. Meanwhile, people who are threatening to kill me and threatening to kill my family have gotten away with it for fucking years. And you want to pretend it's my fault because I put my foot down and said, no, enough is enough. Stop.